so I'm going to show you really quick how to use the Banjo bolt for the ARB airline. And what I mean by that is this combo right here, where the bolt has a hole through it, hole in the bottom, just like a brake line, and then it comes out there, and you get air pressure to 90 degree instead of it sticking way up, because on a Humvee the diff doesn't move, so there's no need, or you can't really fit anything that sits really tall here. So first thing we're going to do is I've got to get the airline a little higher, and I'll give you a piece of advice that was given to me, is using a pick down in that hole makes it a whole lot easier. Ha ha ha. I don't have mine for some reason, but yeah, if you just stick a pick right down in there, you can use the pick to adjust the angle and push it down and stuff. So I'm going to get it a little higher, and then we're going to get some sandpaper, because you can't really see it, but there's a lip on that copper, and one of the parts is this little thing that we have to slide over it, and right now it won't go over. So I'm going to bring that up, sand it down, and then everything should slide on nice. Alright, so I have used these little pieces of sandpaper, I think it's 200 or 300 grit, to kind of sand down the tip, because the cutter will actually kind of mushroom the head up a little bit, so that's sanded down. The reason we do that is we have to put this little brass or gold washer ring down on that, so you can kind of check your fitment with this. Just don't let it fall all the way down there. The first thing we're going to do for assembling it is this little O-ring, so tiny you can barely see it. This little O-ring will slide on, kind of hold the bottom there. That'll slide on. You can push it down a little bit, and then the next thing after the O-ring is that brass or whatever washer. That's going to go on next, and then you're going to want to push that all the way down to the bottom, and it can be a little tricky. You have to wrestle with it a little bit. This tool, the pick here, if you stick it down in the pipe or the tube, you can kind of adjust it and move it and play with it to get that thing all the way down. So I'm going to wrestle with it, get it down, and then I'll come back, and we got to put the other rubber O-ring onto this, and then we can kind of move forward from there. All right, next I've got the O-ring went in first, the brass or gold washer went in second, and then now the other O-ring is going to go in. And the other O-ring, it's good to push it down a little bit. You don't have to go all the way down, because the next thing is this that came in the kit. And what's neat about this is obviously it's threaded. It has a kind of a gasket place where it to fit on the bottom, and that'll thread in right here. But what's neat is you can't even see it, but if you look from underneath, it's got little teeth. It won't really focus on it, but it's got little teeth that'll catch the top of the tube, and then as it screws down, it will hold the tube centered, and it will move it to the exact perfect height where it needs to be. That way, when the Banjo bolt goes on, it will meet up at the bottom perfect, and they'll come together. So I'm going to screw that down. You can, again, use your pick to kind of get it centered, but I'm going to screw that down, and then I'll be back. Remember, is come down here into the case and kind of pull down so this can seat. But you can see, looking directly down, why it's there, and those little teeth are on it. They hold that in place. So again, the Banjo bolt can line up, and it'll screw in after this. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it all the way down. All right, so I've got you angled where you can kind of see down in there. It screws all the way down, hand tight. Don't be Hercules, just get it tight. I had to use a pretty long screwdriver that fits down in here, and that was it. So now I'm gonna move on to the Banjo bolt, and again, like I said, it just has a hole here, air can travel through it, and when I screw that in, it's gonna match up perfectly hole on hole to be sending air through. So I've got to set up the Banjo bolt. I'll show you how that's done in a second, but I just wanted to kind of show you what the end result was there. So here are the last 4 pieces remaining to complete the install. You've got your bolt, 2 Banjo bolt washers, this right here, which I'm sure there's a technical name for it, but it's got the hole in it, and then it's got, where's the other, yeah, the hole right there. Yeah, there it is. So what you do, first thing, put your washer on, then put the bolt through, and then put your other washer on, and this is going to screw in to where we just were screwing in that kind of plug where the copper hose is or tube is. So I'm going to put just a drop of blue Loctite here, because if this loosens up at all, the washers are really what seals it. So if it loosens up at all, it's going to leak. So just put a little, 1-2 little drops of Loctite here, and then once that's on, we literally take the quick connect, screw that in, tighten it down. It's got a rubber O-ring on it, and we'll be done. All right, so we have our assembly complete here. Just a drop of blue. We're gonna put it on there. And again, don't be Hercules here, but get it lined up, tighten it a little bit, and then get your socket, put it on, tighten it snug, but don't overdo it. Remember, the washers are what keep it airtight, so you don't have to go crazy. And now all we're gonna do is get our quick connect. I'm gonna stick a little bit of oil on it, so oil the O-ring here, just a touch. And then that'll thread in, and you can get a deep socket on that and tighten it snug. And once everything's snug, that is it. You get the airline, you plop it in there, and you're done. You're airlocking. Hope it helps.